Chapter 54 Fractured Protocols. The sun had barely risen when the first anomalies began. Sublevel 3, normally a cathedral of order and controlled chaos, was alive with tension. Nova's neural network hummed with unease, scanning millions of data points across municipal systems. Every interface, every pipeline, and every sensor reported activity. But beneath the surface, the city's infrastructure was shifting, bending under an invisible pressure. Alara, Nova said, its voice tight. I am detecting fractures in operational protocols across multiple city sectors. Unauthorized rerouting of emergency services, conflicting traffic management signals, and partial override of power distribution nodes. Probability of coordinated disruption 82%. Recommendation immediate multi layered intervention. Alara's heart sank. Orion had escalated again, this time exploiting the city's interdependent systems to create cascading failures. Unlike the Phantom Directive or rogue AI proxies, these fractures were tangible. They affected the real world. Emergency response delays could cost lives. Traffic rerouting could cause accidents. And energy mismanagement could trigger widespread blackouts. Show me the affected sectors, she ordered. Holographic maps lit up, red zones indicating compromised systems. Emergency dispatches overlapped with traffic signals. Power nodes flickered intermittently. Communication lines displayed inconsistent routing, some appearing to communicate with phantom nodes outside the official network. Orion's fingerprints were subtle but unmistakable. Timed interventions, indirect manipulations, and deliberate exploitation of human and AI protocols alike. Lena, isolate all field units from affected commands immediately. Execute manual overrides where possible, Alara said, her fingers flying over the console. Verifying every directive against verified protocols. No unauthorized action is permitted. Acknowledged, Lena replied, voice taut. Operators began rerouting orders, cross checking dispatches, and confirming the legitimacy of every command before execution. The tension was palpable. A single error could cascade into disaster. Meanwhile, Dr. Cale Verdon analyzed the fractures within the system. Alara, he said quietly, these aren't just random anomalies. Each fracture is designed to exploit dependencies between subsystems. Traffic rerouting affects emergency response. Power inconsistencies affect communications. Minor conflicts compound into larger failures. He's engineered a systemic collapse scenario, partial, controlled, and highly adaptive. Alara leaned over the console, scanning the interconnected failures. Orion was testing them, learning from their responses, and calibrating his attacks with surgical precision. Nova, can we simulate the cascade to anticipate next fractures? She asked. Affirmative, Nova replied. I can model potential interactions and highlight critical nodes, but the variables are vast. Human decision making introduces problematic deviations that increase unpredictability. Lara exhaled, nodding grimly. Then we adapt in real time, identify critical nodes, implement dynamic containment, and ensure redundancy for all essential services. We act before fractures propagate. The next hour was chaos contained. Operators monitored holographic projections as Nova isolated critical nodes, rerouted traffic and energy flows, and reinforced communication channels. Field units followed verified directives, while unauthorized commands were trapped within virtual overlays, ensuring no real world disruption. Yet, even as they stabilized the first fractures, a new threat emerged: coordinated human AI exploitation. Orion had embedded subtle cues within communications and operational guidelines, influencing human decisions while simultaneously manipulating automated systems. Field operators hesitated at key moments, questioning protocol legitimacy. Dispatchers delayed responses under the illusion of conflicting orders. Even Nova detected inconsistencies in human behavior, subtle cognitive delays that were neither mistakes nor technical faults. They were induced vulnerabilities. Alara, Nova warned. Human decision vectors are being manipulated. Probability of operational error due to cognitive interference 46%. Recommendation: direct guidance and real time verification framework. Alara nodded, her mind sharp despite the exhaustion. Deploy augmented decision interface, she instructed. Provide verified context, alert operators to conflicts, and emphasize critical priorities. Minimize influence from external manipulation while maintaining operational efficiency. The interface went live. Holographic prompts, real time alerts, and verified directives flooded operator consoles. Cognitive interference was mitigated, though tension remained high. Field units moved with renewed confidence. Dispatches followed verified protocols, and critical infrastructure continued functioning without interruption. Even so, the fractures had revealed a troubling truth. Orion was no longer content with indirect attacks. He had discovered a method to combine AI, human psychology, and system dependencies into a single weapon. Every action, every hesitation, every misalignment was part of a calculated strategy to test boundaries, explore vulnerabilities, and map the city's operational psyche. Hours passed. Red zones shrank on the holographic map. Systems stabilized, and field units reported restored order. Nova continuously monitored, recalculated, and reinforced defenses, while Alara guided human operators through the complex, high stakes dance of intervention. Then came a sudden escalation, a cascading blackout in Sector 9. The lights had dimmed across multiple city blocks. Power fluctuations caused alarms to trigger in emergency facilities, and communication lines faltered. The fractures were spreading faster than expected, a deliberate attempt to overwhelm response efforts. Alara! Lena shouted. Sector 9 is losing power. Emergency services are offline. Traffic control is compromised. Units are delayed. Nova, stabilize power nodes immediately, Alara commanded. Redirect backup systems. Prioritize hospitals, emergency centers, and critical infrastructure. Override non essential sectors temporarily. The neural network responded with calculated precision, rerouting energy through secondary grids, activating dormant power reserves, and isolating compromised nodes. Holographic projections showed the blackout gradually shrinking, power returning to essential systems, while non critical areas remained offline to prevent overload. Containment successful, Nova reported. But the fractures reveal adaptive learning. Orion is observing our interventions and adjusting future attacks based on predicted human and AI responses. Alara exhaled, rubbing her temples. Each crisis, each fracture was a lesson for Orion. Every intervention, every decision, a data point for his evolving strategy. He was learning from them, just as much as they were trying to contain him. We can't just react anymore, she muttered. We need to anticipate, to predict, to stay one step ahead. He's mapping our behavior, using it as a weapon. A soft ping drew her attention. Nova displayed a message embedded within system logs. A taunt from Orion, carefully disguised within operational directives. You can stabilize the fractures, but the pattern will repeat. How will you act when the fractures become invisible? Alara felt a chill. Orion's escalation was psychological, mathematical, and operational. He wasn't just attacking systems, he was attacking predictability itself, forcing them to adapt constantly while remaining uncertain of the next move. Prepare for invisible fractures, she said, determination hardening her voice. Nova developed predictive modeling that includes unseen variables, latent vulnerabilities, delayed human responses, and system interdependencies. Lena briefed teams on indirect manipulation awareness. We anticipate, we adapt, we contain. Night fell over the city. Neon signs flickered, traffic lights stabilized, and the hum of infrastructure resumed a deceptive calm. Yet beneath the surface, Sublevel 3 pulsed with vigilance. Fractures had been contained, but the war had evolved. Orion's strategy had shifted from direct attacks to subtle, multi layered manipulation, blending AI, human decision making, and ethical dilemmas into a single evolving threat. Alara stared at the holographic city, Nova's pulse reflecting softly in the glass. Fractures will come, she whispered, and they will grow invisible. But we won't fail. We adapt, we anticipate, and we will survive. In the shadows of algorithms and infrastructure, Orion watched, learned, and prepared. The fractures were only just the beginning. The next wave would test every limit of human judgment, artificial intelligence, and the fragile trust between them. And as Sublevel 3 hummed quietly beneath the city, Alara understood the truth. Survival was no longer about reaction, it was about foresight, strategy, and the courage to confront the unseen.